Hello everybody. Hi, how's everyone doing? Welcome back to ADSR, our monthly, I say this every week, our weekly sound design sessions. Oh, Jean-Michel Jarre, Oxygen, yeah. That is a great album. Just noticed that as the first comment I've read. How's everyone doing? As always, let me know where you're tuning in from. And yeah, these are probably my favourite sessions that we do because I always like working with new gear. And we got new software today. We've got the SQ80 V from Arturia. And we're also going to be looking at the new features in StudioOne version 5.4. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a StudioOne guy. I also have started delving into a bit of Ableton, but I'm primarily StudioOne. I feel like I know this DAW in and out, and there's some really cool features in 5.4. So, yeah, let me know what you want to get out of it today. Who's seen the release, the Arturia release? It's a cool one. I sort of feel like they're preparing us, you know, for V Collection. I think it would be V Collection 8, wouldn't it? Yeah, I feel like they're preparing us for V Collection 8 with the SQ80 V, because this will obviously be added to the 8. But I'm sort of wondering, they've emulated every single. Well, they're getting close to emulating all of the classic vintage synths. So there's a couple more that they need to do, I suppose. But yeah, they've certainly managed to achieve a lot with this one, and I'm looking forward to exploring it today with you guys. Toronto, Canada. Oh, nice, lovely, lovely place. Yeah, Larry. Nice to see you, Larry. Yeah, you're right. The upgrade offers that Arturia gives are just crazy good value for money. So I'm sure people will be getting version 7 or 8. I can't quite remember which one I'm on at the minute, to be honest. But yeah, SQ80V. This should be fun. And yeah, let me know if you have any experience working with digital synths. This is actually a crosswave synthesizer. It's a multi-timbral synth. It's a digital synthesizer, and it's a digital recreation of the original. And they've added some nice new stuff, as always. Something that was interesting the other day is I've seen someone talking about how is it time we stopped emulating and just built new stuff, like, for example, Serum and Pigments. They're brand new. But I think there's a bit of both, isn't there? But what Arturia do really well is they take an old thing and they add new stuff to it as well. So this will be a lot of fun. So we're going to be looking at StudioOne. We're going to be looking at the SQ80. We'll explore it, and then we're going to build some sounds and presets, and we're going to give the presets away for free. Whatever I make in this session, you can download for free. If you haven't got the SQ80V, you can even download the SQ80V as a free download, and it works fully functional, maybe for a limited time or something, but you can download the free presets that I'll be making today. That's part of the incentive. So we shall get going in just a minute or two. As usual, if you're not familiar, these are our weekly sound design sessions with me, your host, Brent March, and we explore all things sound design. So last week we were doing 3D sound, and we've explored all sorts of things from synths to field recordings to creating our own samples, creating specific things like kicks. And then throughout the week we also have lots of other streams with people like Jane Arneson. We have Tetro, we have Alina Smith, who's from Lyre, I hope I'm saying that right. They're a duo who write all of the massive K-pop songs. And we also have Sean Devine doing mastering. And I think that's everyone. There's a lot of variety, so if it's not just sound design you're into, just keep your eyes peeled through all week. And as usual, guys, the Discord link to keep up to date with all this sort of stuff, and also probably where I'd imagine these presets will end up, the link for them will be on the Discord. So, without further ado, we'll share the links in this video and ask. Yeah, there we go. So, let's start off with StudioOne. What's new? It's a small update, so it won't take a lot of time to cover this stuff, but there's some good stuff to talk about. So we have, to list it, native Mac silicon support. So previously, StudioOne was working on Rosetta, which helps non-silicon chip. So these new Macs, I'm actually using one right now. They aren't Intel, they aren't AMD, they are their own architecture. They're very, very powerful, and StudioOne is now compatible with native. StudioOne is now natively compatible with Mac. So that means the performance has gone boom through the roof, and it is so unbelievably fast now, like remarkably fast. It's crazy. There's actually on the Production Expert website, because they do a lot of silicon stuff with Macs, they show the comparison between running it on Rosetta versus running it with like natively, and the difference is just crazy. We have plugin nap. So plugin nap is actually sort of tucked away, by the way, and you have to turn it on. But it's a really nice feature, and what it means is StudioOne will use sort of like it'll make its own decisions based on what is sort of inactive in terms of what you're not maybe using, and it will basically put them into plugin nap, and that means that you can get better performance from your CPU. So as you can see, I'm only using 3% of my CPU, and to be quite honest, Arturia makes some fantastic stuff, but they go into such detail. The plugins are really CPU hungry, so that just demonstrates how optimized this version of 5.4 is from StudioOne. What you got to do is you got to go into enable plugin nap, turn that on, and although I haven't got a big session here in terms of lots of plugins, this means that if I had a big session, it would deactivate plugins as and when you are not using them, kind of. Not that it would compromise your mix. It would make decisions based on maybe sections or structural sections that you're working in, or maybe if you're recording a certain part and you're soloing that track, it won't use the others because you're just soloing a track. So that's a really, really neat feature, which, to be honest, is basically coding, which kind of really get my head around. We got mix engine effects improved. Actually, haven't got them on this system, but the mix engine effects, I do have one, console shaper. So this is basically like, it's a bit like Heat from Pro Tools. This basically, you can have crosstalk across all your channels. You can introduce noise and drive, and it's supposed to add that analog character and warmth that we are missing in the digital age. The issue is it was quite a CPU hungry application, and it wasn't optimized brilliantly. So they fixed it, and now it is optimized to work and perform better in terms of performance, which is nice. This next one is really, really cool. So each month I work for a couple of publishers, and before they want the full WAV file, they want an MP3 file, just because MP3s are really small, and they don't want uploading huge files to their servers. So you upload an MP3 first, and then once I go on and it's approved, I then have to go back and do a WAV. So what StudioOne have done is you can do multiple passes. So you can do save as. Sorry, let's save a session. It's an export, isn't it? Export mixdown. And as you can see, I can export multiple passes. So wave, AIF, FLAC. I've never heard of this in my entire life. Org Vorbis, like, yeah, maybe someone can teach me something today. Please tell me in the chat if you know what this means, or maybe look it up. But you can do multiple passes, which is great because sometimes certain platforms don't accept WAVs, so you might have MP3s and so on. So that is really, really great feature. And also you can get the sample rate configured and the resolution for each individual format, even if you are doing a multiple pass export. So that is really, really great. I think a lot of people are going to love that. Okay, then we have this feature. I think this feature will probably blow people's minds the most. So I've got this sample here. I just pulled it off the ADSR store on, off the ADSR sample manager, and obviously, Org Vorbis is a lossless sound file compression format. Thank you, Christopher Burke. Really appreciate that. Probably before my time. Well, not before my time, but probably should know about that. So the nice thing about the ADSR store is we get key information and tempo information. We can see that this from the ADSR low fire pack was in the key of F minor. But what you can do is you can do chord detection. All you have to do is go into audio and extract a chord track, and its extremely intelligent algorithm will be able to decipher what chords are playing at which point in the song. C sharp major, C dominant 7th, F sus4, and it's also on the track here. So we've got two different modes here. By the way, you could already do that in the previous versions, but it now follows along in the side here, so you'll see C sharp change, C sharp, C7, F sus4. Okay. that's really nice feature. So we have a real-time chord display editor, but we also have a large chord display. I think I have to go into view and go on a chord display, and it's just open down here. Here we go. So I had read that this is a feature that someone said they would never have asked for, but didn't realize how useful it was and how much they actually needed it. Suppose that you are tracking parts and someone's gave you stems, and in this world of collaboration online, hence the pandemic, we're all working and dropping each other's files onto Dropbox and stuff like that. I doubt that then people would tell you what chords their stems are if you have to play over them. They might do if they're nice, but just tell them they don't need to if you have StudioOne, because watch this, Chord Track, it not only tells you what chord is present, but it tells you the next chord that's coming up, and it gives you a countdown so you know exactly how long you have before you have to play the next chord. So just as an example, say that this is a Rhodes part and I pick up my guitar and I'm going to play along with this. I literally have a chord chart sort of following me through the piece, and it can analyze any material. So let's watch this. So you see the blue bar counting down? And look how accurate it is. That's crazy good. That's crazy good. So with low register chords, it's just as intelligible, tiny bytes. It's really accurate. So for example, if I even pitched it down, and also you get the chord chart information on the left here as well, as you can see. But yeah, if I was to have a much lower part pitch down, it can recognize the information as well, because what it looks for is the root note, and then it listens for the main thing that determines the harmony, which is the third interval. If the third is flat, it's obviously going to be some format of a minor chord or diminished. And then likewise with major chords and etc. It's not a theory lesson, but yeah, it can pick out pretty much any source material, which is great. But if you're someone who tracks a lot, that is such a fantastic feature. And I also think that they brought this to the song page when it was so if you're performing and you're working in a pit or something as a session musician, you probably best off with StudioOne out of any DAW, if I'm honest. They seem to be having some really good features targeted towards performance, and I think there's a lot to come with the show page, so let's see, I guess. So really that's it. Again, it's a small update. The biggest one here actually is the native support for Apple Silicon, because let's face it, it's a huge new platform and developers are still catching up with this new CPU technology. But really cool that we have all these little extras. Presonus always give us a lot of stuff to keep us going until, the next updates. It'll probably be a while until we get 6, obviously, but there we go. That's it. If anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them at the end of the stream. Anything StudioOne, but that's everything there is to look at in version 5.4. So, with that out of the way, that chord feature just blows my mind. It's so good. If I remove that track, by the way, all the chord information still stays up here, which is great. And I can just hide the chord track like this. And there we go. We don't have it anymore. Really cool. Okay, so let's pull up the main talking point of today. The SQ80 V. As always, I just like to start off playing this thing and getting some sounds from it so people understand the sort of sounds that a synth is capable of, because they're all quite different, they're all quite unique. Basically, the SQ80 V, obviously part of their V collection of instruments, is a digital emulation of the SQ80. So think sort of sharp, crystal clear and cutting edge sounds. It's based off an 8-bit 5503 dock chip, which delivers the digital sounds. And they're full of organic character, ranging from silky smooth to razor sharp. And the reason that this synth is so cool, to be honest, is it can be really simple summed up. You have these digital oscillators, these DCOs, but you run them through an analog filter, and that gets a lot of interesting and odd harmonics and just results in sounds that you probably wouldn't get from anything else. So a lot less heavy on the CPU, I'm noticing. I don't know if that's because of the StudioOne Silicon update. Very 80s sounds here, man. Nice, yeah. Does the SQ80V have a library of worship pads, new age pads? Quite potentially. If not, you'd probably be able to purchase something that specific in a third-party store like Arturia store, or maybe someone will come up with some patches. But it might have. I know their organizational system is great on all of these in terms of you can narrow down your style. So if you're looking for pads, you go into the types menu, keys, and then you can search here for pads. So pads. Let me know if there's anything you like here, and we can look at it later on. But we've got quite a dense collection of different sort of timbre instruments here. Cool. Let's just delve into like I always find that the first sort of 5-10 patches will define the sound of an actual synth. Bit of a lead. Yeah, I really like the arpeggiator on this. Liquid Thoughts. Oh yeah, this is nice. Great sounds. These are just all stock presets. Yeah, it is very, very DX7, and we have some DX7 things carried over here, like the MSEG envelopes and some other things. It is very, yeah, and even like you're saying, it sort of has some very Jupiter qualities to it, doesn't it? Let's explore just a handful more, and then we're going to delve in and basically make our own. There's some beautiful oscillators here, the digital oscillators. You have 3 oscillators, and you've got a nice view of it all here. You've got your schematic for the voice operation here, and this changes depending on the patch that you're on. Sorry, down here is the what was this? This is the dispersion, voice dispersion. So before I was talking about how Arturia go into such detail with their synths. Well, the voice dispersion is to get you the idiosyncrasies and all the little nuances that make even digital synthesizers sort of unique. So replicating it with software is good enough, but having the voice dispersion means you get even closer to replicating all those little nuances that you would expect to hear from the originals. Some nice juicy sine waves here, creating an awesome kick, and then oscillator 3, you can see that we're using it here as a sampler, as a sample engine. Some nice sounds here, to be honest. Let's just delve into one more. That arpeggiator is sick, it's great. Doing a great range there. And as you can hear, again, always try my good headphones or good speakers, it's got some great effects built in. So let's explore and let's build a couple of our own sounds. If we can explore this and build even 5 presets that you can download, then that's awesome, because the idea is I would like you guys to be able to start maybe looking at the presets that I've made yourself. Quickly to investigate what we have here, we've got the hardware part of the SQ80V, all resizable. which I love. It's actually like, I don't think we should have to ask this from companies, but Arturia do it, which is great. So we have the hardware front. On the hardware front, let's just quickly, it literally takes seconds actually, but we have the volume, the arpeggiator controls, and a couple of different modes. So this gives you more optionality here. You've got your octave range and your rate. Then we have a unison mode, and we can control the detune. People familiar with Serum, think about this as your voices spreading out in the stereo field. I think it goes up to 16 voice polyphony. Very nice indeed. This is our front sort of global view of what's going on under the hood, so you can see that from here. And we can see our 3 oscillators and our filter, which is awesome. And I think we can even control certain things from here, such as the resonance, the Q value, and also the actual cutoff point. So there we go, 800 hertz. Then at the end here we have the voice architecture, and then we have this voice dispersion, which I was talking about before. And also, as with all Arturia stuff, which I really think is nice, is it gives you a little description of what each thing means below if you're not entirely sure. So look, filter cutoff dispersion applies dispersion to the filter cutoff frequency. Really cool. And that's it, that's the front. Okay, let's dive into the synthesis. So this is the back-end engine. Really nice and simple to understand, so you can get building your own patches in this super quick. We've got 3 DCAs, so these are digitally controlled oscillators with digitally controlled amplifier controls. We have their modulation points here, and we can see the waveforms here. So if we go into here, we have quite a few different actual waveforms, which I'll talk about more in a second. Then we have our octave controls. Again, all 3 of these oscillators are actually exactly the same, apart from you do get some sync controls here depending on what waveform you're using. And then we have fine tune and semi-tune. And below that we have our voice controls, so we can do unison here as well as on the front panel. And then we have mono capabilities, and we can also adjust the glide control. And then in the middle we have our filter. So the filter is an analog filter, and that's what creates such a unique sound palette with this synth, is you're running digital oscillators through an analog filter. I'm not entirely sure, but I can imagine that's probably a money-saving technique. It kind of reminds me of phase distortion synthesis, where they would use phase distortion. I think meant basically you didn't have to have a filter, and it just cut costs and removed the need for a filter altogether. So this kind of makes me think like, okay, if we use digital oscillators, but we can have an analog synth, we can reduce price. Then below there we have envelopes. So what's really cool is we have a couple of different modes. We got ADSR, MSEG or MSEG, and SQ80. So SQ80 is obviously the one that is from the original unit, and it's a homage to that. Then MSEG is basically a custom loopable function curve, and you can add your own breakpoints, and it's just really, really flexible for building your own very, very unique shapes. You know, you can just add a point, and there you go. You wouldn't be able to do anything like this with an ADSR, would you? Because you don't have that many points on an ADSR. And then we have the ADSR, but it's a delayed ADSR. So basically, you can add a delay to the start of the ADSR signal, and it just gives you that little bit of extra control and flexibility here, which is really, really nice. Then we have the main, again, not a VCA, not a voltage controlled amplifier, but a digitally controlled amplifier. And we can also control the pan amount here, which is cool. I could hear a bit of that going on actually. Again, if you're wearing headphones, look here, this is moving from left to right cans. Really, really nice. So that's nice and simple. And then we have a tune control. This is our global tune control. Then below here we have the mixer. So this is really cool. Now the mixer, I don't think this was original on the SQ80, but the description which I had found on the website, let me just see what I'm reading here. The mod mixer basically allows you to combine 2 mod sources in unique ways. So rather than having just typical modulation, you can have something a little bit more advanced by combining 2 mod sources. So I could combine, say, an LFO with pressure sensitivity, or the mod wheel, velocity, how hard I play, the pedal, you know, you name it, and then you can control the amount here, and that'll create something truly quite unique. Like, try recreating this, you know. Let's have a look. So for example, this is the global amount control for the 2. So this is obviously not being applied to anything as of now, I don't believe. but that's what the mod mixer lets you do. And then you've got a couple of different modes here as well for the mixer section. So that's kind of cool. That's nice. I don't believe we've seen that in the original. Below that we have LFOs. I think everyone or most people will be familiar with your low frequency oscillators, which basically move sound and create the main modulation source on most synths. And we got these cool controls. Human is interesting. If you watch Human, it basically is a little bit unpredictable once you apply it as a mod source. And then we also have poly mode as well. So we got a lot of optionality here, and that's the same across all 3 LFOs. And then we have a couple more of these modulation points below. So the last thing before we start making our own sounds is the effects panel. Basically, anyone familiar with Arturia stuff now will be familiar with these effects. Great effects. It means that you just don't have to keep jumping out of the actual VST itself and going to create stuff, but we have 4 slots, I believe. Not as many as usual, mind. I do think you usually get more. Maybe I'm just thinking of pigments, actually. But you can have these in 2 different routing chains, which is really nice. We can route them in parallel and series. And again, you've seen this on pigments, so they're bringing over a lot of the same features that people are already enjoying. And yeah, all of these are from pigments. My favorite on here being, to be honest, multi-comp, which is basically that multi-band OTT kind of thing. So let's head back then. I'm just checking if I've missed anything here. So we have the digital oscillators, which combine with the analog filter, giving it growl, harmonic, sizzle, warm, lo-fi timbres. So if you're into lo-fi, you could probably create some interesting Mac DeMarco-esque sort of sounds with this. We've got thousands of possibilities and combinations of waves. So we have instrument-style transients, we have hidden waveforms and visual effects transwaves for sound design potential. You know we love sound design here. What does all this mean? Basically, they've gave us a lot more here in terms of the waveforms. We have the original factory waveforms with these SQ80s, but we have some new ones as well. We've got the trans waves, and these are taken from Ensoniq Synths. That is a pioneering form of wavetable application. And we also have these unique drum transients, which you can use on the well, any oscillator really, but as you've seen it before, it was being used to the trans waves. You can use them to create stuff like kicks, which is awesome. So I think that's pretty much a nice quick run through, and we're at the halfway mark now where we can start building some patches. So let's try and make 5 to 10. These will all be available for download, either if you're here in the stream or after the stream. And yeah, if you haven't got SQ80, you can grab it now on the ADSR website, and you can even grab a free trial if you don't want to commit to it straight away and see if it's for you. And maybe if you watch this, you can apply the knowledge and see if the synth is for you, if it's the sort of thing that you want to use in your music. So let's head over to the menu here. We got this really nice drop down where we can find our own sort of sounds, but all I want to do is just go here and type in default types. There we go. So this will take us to initialize patch, basically, which is a saw wave. So we've got quite a few different waveform types. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, first off, I'm going to go into the waveforms here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start looking through some waveforms. So let's start off with the typical SQ80. Oh dear, my camera battery every time. I sort of knew this was going to happen, so I prepared myself. Unfortunately, my camera battery seems to not be playing ball these days, so this will have to do. I think I'll have to invest in new camera batteries. It's one thing after another. So, the SQ80 waveforms, these are the ones that are original to... I'll just turn this off, actually, because we don't need this anymore, do we? These are the ones that are original to the SQ80 from the 80s. So, let's have a listen to some of these waveforms just so people can get an understanding as to what they sound like. So those digital sort of cutting through sounds, you know? We've got sine wave. They've really, if you have headphones and you can hear this, but you can hear the sound there. You can hear like the actual hiss of the waveform. It's not like a super pure wave, sine wave, because that's the thing with Serum, is it's super clean. But if you want that sort of more lo-fi digital sort of thing, that's already got that going on, which is really nice. And we got a square. Again, slightly different. Be interesting to pull these up with a. I should have loaded up an EQ. So these are just different noises. Piano. They've all got that kind of lo-fi sound. Interesting. Okay. Reeds, organs, synths. There's a lot to the list here, isn't there? Actually, something I haven't tried yet, which I'd imagine you might be able to do, is drop in your own waveforms, because you can do this with most of the other Arturia ones. So you could probably drop in your own waveform here. I'm just pulling this down. Okay, let's start off with this prime. I just think it's quite interesting harmonically. It's got a lot of nice mid-range stuff going on. Let's bring in another oscillator. Let's head into, we're going to stay with the SQ80 waveforms. Clav. Let's pitch it up an octave. I can just cycle through here if I want. Stay with me, Paul Brown. You might like Serum, but let's see what we can get at least. I know what you mean, though. I'm a huge Serum fan as well. Stay with me. Let's just, to keep the, so it doesn't sound like utter garbage, let's just start filtering stuff. I've got my main envelope here. We can use the SQ80 one for this patch, I suppose, to try and keep it sort of original. And we can apply that to the levels here in a second. Let's add one more oscillator. Do one more waveform. Need something a bit subbier. Okay, that'll do. I'm going to turn on the unison. Okay, you can hear what I'm trying to go for now, I think. And let's bump the resonance up. Okay, cool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to apply this envelope shape to some of these. So to select and create a mod point, all I've got to do is click the plus icon here, and then I can have a choice of different mod points. We'll end up using that mixer net later on because that's really cool. But let's just try envelope 1 for now. And I'll apply it to this one. I'll apply it to all of them. Envelope 1. Okay, let's introduce the... I'm tempted to tune the whole thing. So this tune control here allows you to tune it to a different actual frequency. Interesting. Not seeing that on many things. Really cool. Okay, so starting to sound good. I might just bring out a little bit more top end on the bells. Yeah, I like that now. Sounds good. And the LFO, let's slow the hertz down. And let's apply this to this semi control here. Reduce the amplitude. Okay, yeah. Just bumping up the volume here. Okay, it's like a nice slow pad. Let's take another LFO and use this LFO to modulate the frequency. We can go from hertz to synced values. And again, I'm just going to drop the amplitude a bit. Okay, cool. It's starting to sound quite nice there. I'm enjoying it. Let's head over to the effects so we can make this come a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to do the old dry wet blend on the reverb here. And there's your instant SQ80 pad, which is a nice sound. It's very nostalgic and sort of vintage. I'm going to swap this out for a tape delay and set it into ping pong mode. And you got that nice analog sort of grit, which is awesome. Let's add a Juno chorus. And lastly, let's do the multi-comp. Back to the hardware front here. I'm going to go out the voice dispersion and try a couple of different modes because they're all slightly different. Okay, that's cool, that's nice. There's patch numero 1. So let's have a listen to this. I like it. It just needs a tiny bit more verb. So decay, and I like the room size it's in. High pass up to 200 is probably about right. We've boosted up the decay and let's just do more of the room. Sorry, more dry wet mix. So let's hear this. Nice, yeah, this is a good one. What about if we pitch it down the octave? Yeah, pitches quite well, which is always useful for a preset. Oof, crikey. Still quite hungry on the CPU. You got pitch and mod controls already assigned, which is quite cool. And you can put these in different modes. So let's save this as our first one. New playlist. And let's call it ADSR. It's the 20th of September. Actually, let's call it presets. Let's just call it ADSR presets. Crikey, I can't spell. And where's my preset save? Oh yeah, you've got the MPE on this as well. That was something else that I forgot from before. I can save this in the left. That's what I'm looking all over for. So let's just put this down. ADSR. And we'll set this as a user bank and call it really smooth. Naming's always the funnest part. It's 80s, let's say lo-fi, just add a couple of things, quite atmospheric, classic, warm, and a little bit harsh. And I'm sure you can save these to different banks, but currently doesn't want to do this. Oh, it's saving it to my user bank. That's fine. Type's name is mandatory. Oh, okay. Sorry, the preset name. We'll just put it down as pad. New. Luscious. Okay, there's our first one. Oh, I've put dots in. Wow, there's a lot of things to comply with. It's like a GDPR form. Hey, we got one. So really smooth. I think some of the Arturia plugins might be M1 compatible. I'm not entirely sure, Tiny. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not sure if this is, but cool. Let's go for another default preset. Explore and just go for default. Okay, so this second preset, let's do something a bit different. Let's ditch the plucks. Let's ditch the pads and let's go for a pluck. Head back into the synthesis menu. Just drop out of this section here. Let's have a look. So if we go into trans waves and hidden waves, we've got a lot of stuff here. See these WAV files? This makes me think that this makes me think you can definitely load your own waveforms into here, to be honest. I'm not entirely sure about these trans waves. Browse waveforms among the selected category. Oh, interesting. You'd have to use some of these for sound effect sounds. I can imagine they'd be really useful. So trans waves, again, these were from the original SQ80, I believe. Okay. Let's do some stuff which has got a little bit more upper harmonics and pluckiness to it. And let's change the to a ADSR. Okay, let's roll back on this, drop our frequency. And let's apply to it LFO1. Oh, that's LFO2, that's why. Not really liking the triangle shape. Let's just do a let me think about this. No, let's do a ramp. Yeah, we can do a ramp. And I'm going to put it into reset mode. Okay, Arturia actively working on M1. Interesting. Probably because they got such a humongous library of stuff to get compatible. I'm thinking about how you can change this filter. So we've got keyboard tracking. So this sets you out that the keyboard notes will modulate after the filter cut off. So what's this using as a modulation? LFO2, interesting. So I'm using this to modulate the pan, so we get a little bit of left and right. Again, just do similar sort of things. This definitely needs the old multi-comp. Dive into some of these presets. That's more like it, highs. Okay, I think I'm going to drop the decay on this massively. increase the rate. Let's do a sync triplet feel. So this little slider on the side here lets us go through the actual position of the waveform as well. That's what gives it that sort of unpredictable but digital sort of. I think I might drop the delay for this actually. Really great sounds there. Let's use another dispersion mode. And lastly, the thing I was going to do was go on to the old arpeggiator. Yeah, some great sounds here. Okay, let's do it without the arpeggiator. And I'm just going to have a look at this envelope. I'm going to do a second envelope with that M seg. This is again is from that DX7. I'm liking the pan from left to right. I'm just going to go back to envelope 1 and apply this ADSR envelope 1. Let's also apply another one here. There we got the pluck. That's what gives it that pluck, which is really nice. Okay, I'm going to head back here for one last thing. Maybe not 100% confident on this. Okay, and last thing, I keep saying last thing. Okay, there we go, there we go. Let's check it out. That's bright, I like it. Always check if it sounds good in terms of its transposition, so, you know, does it sound good when I pitch it down then? Yeah, it does. It's just a thriller. Oh yes, instant Halloween sounds. I think if there's one thing I'd change, I'd reduce the resonance on here. Didn't realise how loud this is. Chorus. Okay, there we go. There's another preset for my pack. Looks like I'm doing 3. I'll top it up with 2 more after. And we can also increase the polyphony here, by the way, and the unison, which is great. So let's do 6 notes. Fun one, liked it. Save the preset. Oh no, I'm trying to think of a really nice pun sort of thing. Pluck. Anyone think of a great name for this? This is honestly the hardest part of making presets. I'm not even joking. Pluck. Let me do styles and someone give me a name for this. Someone else. Airy. It's a bit dirty. Kind of thin. Come on, someone drop me a name. This is sort of disco-y. A little bit chiptune. Okay, that'll do. It is going to be a pluck. Oh, maybe they don't have a pluck. Keys. Pluck keys. There we go. And the name. Okay. Oh, pluck. Progressive pluck. Okay, crikey. Okay, I'll let Ida name things in the future because I can't. Progressive pluck. Good. Like it. There's another one. Okay. Can we do one more? Of course we can. Yeah, it was trancy. It was trancy. Yeah, I'm terrible at the copyright and stuff. Okay. The pressure. Actually, I don't know if you mean the pressure in terms of I'm terrible at naming them, but actually quite like the pressure as the name for it. Oh, the pressure would have been good. Actually, quite like that. Okay, back to this, and let's do one more default patch. And we've done a pad, we've done a pluck. What else can we do? Let's do a bass one. Let's do a bass. Let me think. I actually seen a nice bass waveform in here before, and it was literally named bass. Let's back it up with a sine. Okay. Okay, we're going to use a really fast LFO on this to get a quacky out of it, you know, sort of like a notchy sound. Supermassive 6/4 lead. If only we had the time. LFO 1, and let's make it go with a bit more resonance, and let's actually, you know what? Let's do a mod mixer. Oh yes. And let's make this bass. Oh yeah, that's actually quite cool already. Cool, yeah, I'm liking it. Triangle ramp noise. Some cool LFOs here, actually. Oh wow, you can combine them? Is that right? No. So let's combine two different things here. Velocity with mod wheel. Oh, okay, so realize you got to write the mod here. Not actually loving this. Let's change this. There we go. Go back the LFO, yeah. Okay, let's make this bass pop. end. Someone at the very, very start was talking about low end. Basically, the key to getting tight low end is a couple of different things, but it could be a process of layering. But the two things, honestly, that would really help you out a ton with getting good low end is saturation, and also something that I was just about to say and I've completely forgotten. There we go. Compression. Multiband compression is really good for bringing out low end stuff, to be honest. This is so 80s. Okay, let's just do one little thing. Let's do our own filter. Okay, let's apply this. Okay, with that in mind, I'm going to actually reduce this and reduce the speed of it. In fact, actually, I think I'm just going to remove this. Okay, this one's kind of cool. Bit hot there, bit hot. Let's just change the sample. Seg. Okay, I think this'll do. Dies off too quick here. God, this shows you guys how long presets take, because you just never. Okay, that'll do. Let's save. Save preset as. I've got a name for this one. It was in my head as I was going through. Tubby Brass Baby. Funky. And bass. It's a bit of a plucked bass. It's quite clean, punchy. And yeah, it's got like a more of a disco sound. So 3 presets. Yeah, fat little cheeks. So yeah, 3 presets. I'm going to do 2 more, but we're at the end of the show. But this was a lot of fun. I hope you guys have learned as much as you can about this fantastic new synth from Arturia. Like I said, you can grab a free download and see what you think before you buy it, and you'll be able to get these free presets on Discord within the next day or so. And again, subscribe and help us out with the like button. And there's more streams all throughout the week. And if you join the Discord, there's more than just my quick presets that weren't so quick, let's be honest. If you have any questions on StudioOne, please, I'm looking over at the camera, but it's died. If you have any more questions on StudioOne, please feel free to ask them in the Discord and I can answer them. I know most people are actually probably Ableton and stuff, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. I hope you got something from it. Definitely recommend checking out SQ80 V. It's quite different to, you know, the big fat analog things that everyone's trying to emulate these days. It's more of like a chip tune kind of thing, in my opinion. Great for like bitty sounds. Very, very good for game sort of sound effects. Good for sound effects, but also I think it's good for, I would say if you think about this and you're not familiar with the synth, think of the DX7, but on steroids in terms of it's not FM, but it's a bit like that in terms of the sonic architecture, which it's occupying and stuff. But anyway, I could talk all day. I hope you found this useful. I shall see you next week. Don't forget, you can pick these sounds up available on Discord for free if you're watching the stream now or in the future. I've been Brent March, and I will catch you guys next week. I hope you all have a great week. More streams all throughout the week. See you later, guys. Bye.